Hello, welcome back to the casting panel with myself, ODPixel and Draskell. And here we are with game 2 between 4 Clovers and a Leprecon and the side, of course, of Yellow Submarine. The draft is well underway, so let's get ourselves over to the picks and bans. Well, Draskell, second ban, the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 4 Clover and you want to try to pick your Treant, then taking away Ember is obviously a step in the right direction. I think Slasher talked about the Darkseer pick and how counterintuitive it is to pick a Treant into Darkseer, but picking it into a Darkseer and an Ember makes the armor more than worthless. Like, there was maybe 1 or 2 instances, I think, in that game where the armor actually saved anyone, and I was like, it didn't really matter. Like, those kills would have been nice for the team to get, but in the end, they still ended up taking the first game. So everything considered, if they want to go back for the Treant yet again, this time, they're not going to have to worry about that annoying thing. And if you take out the Ember, it takes away the combo of the Darkseer Ember in the first place, which we thought was going to be something that we would have seen last game, but it just didn't really end up coming to fruition in a big way. But looking pretty standard now from both teams. Not going to see a Nyx pick. Not going to see Darkseer as a second pick. And this is kind of what we said too. Is like the first game was a bit clowny. So now both teams are just going to be like, let's just pick standard stuff. You know, we'll go with the norm.
Pretty much looks like it. I mean, yeah, on the side of Yellow Submarine, first pick straight in there with the axe, and then they pick up the Shadow Fiend, and well, by the time its third pick, it's not banned out. So we see the Earthshaker picked up, pretty much the standard go-to hero when you've got an SF in the mid lane. Someone there's a bit of an issue to play against, but very good to have on the same team. And PSM's not a happy man.
The angriest man who's ever played Dota, actually. Like, I mean, they have the term resting angry face.
5 seconds
Resting
remaining.
angry face.
Yeah, it's like if you're just sitting there normally, right?
That's
and you're
your
just looking,
go-to face.
Like, I can't even do it that well anymore because my eyebrows actually sit quite a bit lower normally. But you make yourself look happier on average, just so people don't think you're constantly upset with them. Because I used to have that all the time when I was at home when I was a kid.
People are like, you all right?
My mom's like, why are you so mad? I'm like, I'm not mad. This is just how I look. And then I get mad because they think I'm mad.
And that doesn't help.
And that doesn't help.
That doesn't help.
Of course.
It's
All right,
a slowly
so
dwindling spiral, yeah.
Yeah.
Rubik, third pick, picked up halfway through the draft. I mean, do you like it?
I think the Rubik is fantastic against Shaker. It's one of the coolest heroes to have against it, solely because stealing Fissure, it's one of the most satisfying spells to use without a cast time. So you just like, boom, insta-fissure. Blocking is so easy with a Rubik. And if you plan on picking anything like you used to see Rubik Gyro a long time ago. That combo was always very strong because of the magical damage output you had during the early game and complementing the Rubik and being able to telekinesis people into range to be able to deal damage to them. But he's a hero who I've always loved. He just hasn't always fit because his damage output is pretty meh. You know, but with a Chen, it kind of supplements him in the same way that a Gyro would, and that you have the creeps to deal the damage for you, possibly adding even more lockdown to the gank as well. But Enchantress here from Yellow Submarine.
Enchantress indeed is the pickup.
Yeah.
Obviously, between the two junglers, the Chen and the Enchantress, what are kind of the advantages and disadvantages of both?
So you can steal creeps as Enchantress because the ability has a longer cooldown. You also have the advantage of being able to have more than 1 creep with level 1 enchant, which Chen obviously can't do that. He has to wait until he's like level 3 and 5.
10
But
seconds remaining.
I think the biggest difference is how the heroes actually play in fights, whereas Enchantress is more seen as a semi-core after a while because of impetus and going for more farm-oriented items. Very rarely buys a mech on Enchantress because you use so much mana throwing impetus that you don't really have the mana pool to use the item, especially ever since they increased the mana cost. But wow, Lifestealer. There's a hero we don't see very often.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it could be a Bambo hero, I guess. It could also be BZZ.
It could be, yeah.
Like, they could last pick Bambo's hero. But I actually think Lifestealer is okay against these heroes because he's good against Axe in the way that you wouldn't think about. So if you go in and you get Blink called, he gets a little bit of armor, but Lifestealer hitting an Axe without call on, you steal a ton of HP, and you kind of just chew through him. Like, the Axe is never at any stage going to be a real threat to you in a one-on-one scenario. So you're relying heavily on the damage follow-up. Also great against Enchantress, because if you get on her with a Rage on, you don't get the untouchable debuff. You cannot be hit with impetus, even though it is pure damage. It does not pierce magic immunity. And everything else on the side of Yellow Submarine doesn't really hurt you until maybe the SF gets some farm. So I think in some ways, this could actually be really good because Troll and Sniper and Jug were all banned. So it feels like they're just abusing the fact that none of the typical cores are in, and even taking out the Storm too. Now, they did it because they already have a mid, even though Yellow Submarine could have easily picked it themselves, which would have been fantastic against 4 Clover's lineup because they would have only had 1 hero who could catch. I don't know, there's like mind games on top of mind games going on right now.
And the final pick for the side of Yellow
And
Submarine.
they even had first pick out of the ban phase. They could have just taken Storm themselves, put Shadow Fiend in the safe lane.
It's going to be a Razor. I guess Razor works pretty nicely against the Lifestealer.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the better counter picks for the hero. Like, even if you rage, it doesn't remove the link. Like, you can buy Lincolns now, but nobody really wants to buy Lincolns on Lifestealer. Even though they sound kind of similar.
And final pick for the side of Four Clovers. So they're still looking for what we expect to either be... I mean, I guess you're going to be putting the Quap up against CSF. You could put it in the off lane, but do you think they'll be happy with the matchup with the Quap there?
I mean, you could put the Quad versus SF. That hero beats pretty much like everything that normally gets through the draft, outside of Sniper, which nobody really beats Sniper. I think Clock maybe would be solid for them. It's another hero to infest into, like outside of just the Queen. You hookshot somebody, you put him in a Thunderdome, you pop out, and you try to kill them.
What about a Puck?
Puck is also okay, but you're going to see at least 3 BKBs this game from Yellow Submarine, and Puck falls off super hard. Plus, then your pushing potential would actually be would be okay, I guess. We have Chen, so yeah, I guess either is possible. They want an Initiator though, but they're going to pick Windranger instead. Okay. No initiation really on 4 Clover. They're going to go with the our team fight is going to be solely through being able to fight and push. Like, we're going to make you react to us instead of we're going to have a team composition that can actually force a fight. It's more like our fights are started by us pushing, and then you have to fight into us. So it's a different way of doing it, but Goblak, he's not going to go for the standard pick at least one initiator strategy.
So looking at the draft as a whole, I mean, does a certain side kind of stick out to you as favourable, or do you kind of feel that both have their merits in this situation?
It's pretty even.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's going to be dependent on what the Shaker does for the Radiant side, and also the 2 roamers, of course. You have 2 jungle heroes, so the Chen and the Enchantress both. So like in the early game, it's going to be up to what kind of momentum each respective jungler can give to their team. And then as the game progresses, you're going to have blink timings that are very important for Yellow Submarine, and 4 Clover are... And honestly, I think like Yellow Submarine probably have the more stable draft, in my opinion, because they have double blink heroes that are both really easy to use. Like Axe goes in first, and then you have the Shaker for backup in case things go poorly, right, after they get blink daggers. You got SF as a core. The Enchantress also transitions into a semi-core. You got Razor, who's your mech buyer, who's going to be farming safe lane. So you'll see potentially some action here, but it looks like Bambo is just going to retreat. But yeah, I think I slightly favor Yellow Submarine, but it's like 55-45 for the draft. It's very close.
Very close indeed. And talking about the draft, let's have a look who is on what. On the side of the Radiant, on the side of Yellow Submarine, you can have PSM on the Enchantress. Fervian will be playing on the support Earthshaker this time. Barash on his Shadow Fiend yet again. Viposhka this time manning up on the Razor. And finally, it's going to be Dale on the offlane Axe. I'm only Pixel, I'm here with Draskell, and it's of course Yellow Submarine versus 4 Clovers. What are we seeing over on the side of the Dire, Draskell?
All right, so we got Hani. He's going to be handling Queen of Pain this game. In the river, we're going to have Sexy Bambo trading a little bit here. That Shadow Fiend. Standing next to him is going to be Yol. Oh, Bambo. Going to be forced to wind run away here. Probably will be fine. Leprecon got boots, but he's not going to continue chasing that out. And also going to see an open wins here on the Dale as BZZ is auto-attacking him down with Hani. This should be the first blood.
Oh, first blood for your Queen of Pain mid lane. That's a good way to start.
Not bad. Especially against Shadow Fiend. And he's already seen that he has level 1 raise, so... It's very easy to zone a Shadow Fiend with Queen. Like, you just do what he does right now. What a lot of players do, and I know this is probably like sub 4K advice. Okay. But don't actually click on the Shadow Fiend in this position because you pull the creeps up, and you don't want to pull the creeps. You want the Shadow Fiend to not hit them. Kind of what Hani has done here. So nicely played.
I'm sure Hani will be able to deal with this situation. Looking at the other lanes, so you've got Dale at the moment on his own. Looks like the backup of the Earthshakers coming in to deal with this dual lane. And then finally on the bottom lane, so you've got this off-lane Wind Ranger. And he's going to be able to deal up with the Razor and the potential ganks from the Enchantress. So I guess, is this one of these lanes where we're just going to see both heroes equally farm, or do you feel someone's got kill potential down here?
Well, Bambo is still going to have to play a little bit defensive because he's up against 2 heroes. If the Enchantress gets like a troll creep, for example, that can be very annoying. Middle lane.
Might be the second kill here for Barash. Oh no, sorry, second kill, sorry, for Hani. Yeah, and Hani finds it. Centaur.
Centaur! The bottle! Oh, he's fine.
So, a very good start for Hani. A minute and a half in, he's found himself 2 kills.
That's a Shadow Fiend, if I've ever seen one.
Oh, I see what he did there.
Yeah, it's not great for him right now. The problem with the Queen snowballing too is Oh, he didn't go 2 points in the dagger. Interesting. Okay, so a lot of queens opt for double dagger because it means that your trade is almost always going to be better than even the Shadow Fiend, unless he lands like a double raise. But typically, if you're going to all in, you just blink on top of the hero, and then you dagger him and you trade that way, because if you run the risk of getting like double or maybe even triple raise. But if you blink into him and just hit him, then he has to sit there and auto attack you back. And if he starts to run, then you just follow him. So bit of preference play here from Hani. Oh, he did get the second point of dagger. He just got it at level 4. That's so bizarre. I wonder why he did that. But he gets a regen anyway, so he's living the dream.
Yeah, indeed. Regen. I mean, the Shadow Fiend is still finding the CS in the mid lane. 8 for 0 against Hani, 7 for 2. But
yeah,
you've got to bear in mind the fact that Hani has found those 2 kills.
I realize why he did it now.
Okay.
I didn't see it at first, but I think it was because when he all-ined Barash, he wanted the extra burst damage for diving the tower. That would actually make sense.
All right. Hani returns to the lane, gets the dagger out, continues the harassment. And looking at our 2 kind of cores on both these, both the sides of the map, obviously on the side of the Radiant at the top lane, Dale at the moment, he's found himself a fair bit of CS, 6 CS at the moment. He's getting fairly harassed by the Yol and BZZ combination. And down in your bottom lane, Razor finding a fair bit for himself, second on the CS board at the moment. I mean, 2-0 in, we're talking about the fact that both teams have the very kind of active junglers, the Chen and the Enchantress. Who's going to be their targets? Are they going to be looking mainly towards the mid lane, both of them?
Yeah, Godblack wants to gank mid for sure. But on Yellow Submarine, you don't really want to try to gank a queen. You just want to be annoying to the queen to make sure that Hani's not just getting like a free lane. Because as of right now, he's still doing pretty well for himself. Top of the net worth by about 700 top lane though. Yeah,
open wounds there into the Fade Bolt. Trying to chase this one down. The Fisher did come out blocking off BZZ, and it looks like it will be enough to get both of the heroes away safely. On in the mid lane, taking a few raises to his face. Keeping Barash in position with the dagger, keeping him held back. And the bottle's back out to him. Barash will be fine, able to top himself back up. But 2-0 still at the moment, coming up to 4 minutes in. Both Godblack and Enchantress continuing to find the farm in the jungle. It's looking to go a little bit better for Godblack as he does have the level advantage. And he's clearing the creeps up a little bit quicker. Dale getting lifted back, finds a nice cool eye onto a couple of them. We'll get Troll trapped up. BZZ going back in, and with the stun and the zap there from Yol, they do find a kill onto the axe. So 3 for 0 now for the side of the Die, and a very nice rotation there from the Chen.
A more standard composition from 4 Clover. I mean, Lifestealer is a little bit unconventional, but the rest of their heroes, this is like,
that's a rotation.
Okay. That's a teleporting Shadow Fiend into a Fissure Raise. Okay, so that was a nice kill. Yeah, very well executed. But I really think that 4 Clover, they don't need to pick the weird clowny stuff like we saw last game. You know, they can just pick a normal strategy and just outplay their opponent, and I feel like that's what they're aiming to do this game.
Mid lane, Hani going in with the Sonic Wave and the right clicks, but Barash, he finds himself the kill. And with the pause, he's going to be fine.
Your stick. Use your stick. He didn't. He tried, though. He actually realized that he wasn't going to win the trade, but I think he panicked, because that stick would have let him live through one more auto attack, and he probably would have killed the Shadow Fiend instead. So, Barash with the luck that Hani decided to grace him with a kill.
Climbing his way back into it, the Shadow Fiend, still at the top of the CS board, and the fact that he's now found 2 kills as well across the map is going to greatly benefit him. Bottom lane is getting to the stage where, well, Miposhka is able to take real control of this lane. He's found 24 to 13 compared to Bambo there with the 10 for 1 at the moment. Chen now with the arcanes there, but this lane, all in all, going very, very well for the raise down the bottom. Top lane, BCZ getting caught in a call. In comes PSM as well with the right clicks. Hasn't quite hit level 6. Still just a level 4, so can't get in with the slow as well with the rage on the lifesteal activated. Fisher is going to miss there in the mid lane. That was a little bit off there from the old ES.
Unfortunate, but he still refilled Barash's bottle, so I'm sure he's fine with it.
Oh,
bottom lane, the bait. It's a huge bait.
Massive bait. Yol's there with the telekinesis. I mean, Miposhka's done a lot of damage here.
He's going to kill Yol.
Another stun's there, and the test of fate. Bringing him low enough, nearly brings down Yol, as you said. A little bit messy from 4 Clovers, but he gets the job done.
All right, Bambo. That was too much of a bait. Too much, too fancy, too busy. But yeah, they get the kill, almost at the cost of their poor little Rubik. But, I mean, the entire time they've been rotating.
Oh, there's your Fisher, but the actual Berserker's call was popped a little bit earlier. Maybe if Dell kind of hung on there, would have found the kill a little bit, but found the kill a little bit easier. I think they still will find it here as they chase him down.
I don't know. Lifestealer's pretty fast.
Oh, dagger slow onto PSM. Dale with the cooldown to Hani. Might find the Queen of Pain. Pops his magic one this time. Blink in 7 seconds. Bottles up as well. They did find the life stealer there. Earthshaker was able to finish him off. Hani. What's the scream? Has this double damage. Fervian coming in as well. Hasn't got the mana to pop anything. But all in all, good little bit of play there for the Radiant. They find the kill onto the lifestealer, but they do lose Leprecon here on the bottom lane. Go Black hangs around, will find him. Pull onto Hani, enchant totem, holding him in place, but a telekinesis there, lifting Dale up. And they've got as well to buff Hani back up in the health department. And Sam with the right click screen, catching both of them. Now open wounds onto Fervian, and Fervian will go down. It's 2 heroes across the map falling here for the Radiant. BZZ trying to chase it down. Blink forward from Hani. Under the tower, Dale hasn't got the mana for the Berserker's call. Getting fairly low himself. TP in here from the Shadow Fiend. Does get held by the telekinesis again by Yol. There's pings in the sidelines because Hani's there. 1 raise, 2 raise will bring him down. And yeah, Scream could have almost certainly finished up PSN there.
Yeah. I mean, if he didn't know he was there, but if you're going to die, I mean, even a panic Scream would have actually gotten him an accidental kill. So, unfortunate. He didn't realize it. But you saw how confident Hani was in playing that. Like, he didn't use Blink for probably like 25 seconds, just walking around between the Earthshaker and the Axe, who were both completely out of mana. Like, they couldn't really do much. They had an enchant and a call between the both of them, which obviously wasn't enough to get that. But maybe overplaying a tiny bit, trying to blink into the tower, going completely YOLO. But it just seems so common. Like, this team does that so much. Like, they get so overconfident that they put themselves in a situation where they have no business being in. Like, you just double tower dive to tier 1 when the enemy team had TPs up at 8 minutes in to try to kill a support. Like, that's an overplay.
I mean, it really kind of feels that, yeah, Four Clovers are kind of throwing away the early game, and it was shown there on the graph as well as it wasn't their advantage, but now it's swung back to favor the side of Yellow Submarine. They might find Go Black here as well. I mean, there's an Enchantress and also an Earthshaker. Help count the Shadow Fiend involved as well. There's a Razor also in the sidelines joining in. That's going to be a very easy pick off there onto the Chen. Sexy Bambo will be able to windrun himself back out that one and back to the tab. But that's another kill for Yellow Submarine, and 5-6 on the board now. It is looking better and better for the side. And Shadow Fiend Barash maintaining the top of the net worth. But all in all, a bit of a repeat of the last game in the sense that still the top 3 net worth on the side of the Dire following the Shadow Fiend. Of course, favoring the side of Four Clovers. But the push now coming onto the tower, tier 1 here on the bottom lane. They'll do what they can in terms of damage. And Hani pressuring the mid lane, continuing to find his farm. But 5-6, 9 minutes in. Yellow Submarine doing pretty well after an initial pretty bad few minutes that came out from the side.
Barash has been the pillar, as Shane said during the between game analysis, is that he's been very consistent, right? So he's top of the net worth again. He's got his mech at 100 gold. It's only 9.5 minutes in, and that's after he even died mid and had to play up against a queen with first blood gold. Like, that is a nightmare for a Shadow Fiend. Now, luckily, he's one of those heroes who can always recover, and we saw just that as now top lane.
Going in with the open wounds here onto Dale. Fisher did come out, but he got dodged by the raise. Dale will choose to just TP and will get away. Posh gets static linking Hani, but Hani just blinks away. So no one's to die in this engagement. Both teams being able to disengage themselves safely.
I'm really curious as to how this is going to play out now, because the Lifestealer has gotten an okay amount of farm, but the Axe is kind of keeping up. So I would say once the Blink Daggers come out from Yellow Submarine, Four Clover may have been looking for more during their laning phase than they've actually gotten. And I think those double Blinks, they're going to have such a gigantic impact on this game. Like, Dale, he might not have played a good Nyx, but we've seen his Axe before, and it's not bad. So if he can make the plays...
Fisher catching BZZ, Barash waltzing in with an Invis rune.
Nope.
Nope. Nah, we're going to be a little bit short there with the race. Won't be able to pursue it any further. Go Black is coming into towards the lane here on the Chen. Pops down a sentry, make sure that the Radiant aren't aware of his presence. There won't be indeed no Radiant vision in this part of the map.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Radiant structures being fortified as the pressure's on in the mid lane and also on the bottom lane as Wind Ranger continues to push it down and might be able to find this with the focus fire. Looks like he will. Get himself a tier 1 potential. I know PSM comes in. Scare him off with the impetus. Top lane, Fisher into the old plasma. That is going to be able to bring down the Rubik. Harney's come into the middle of it all. Will be able to blink out. That doesn't want to hang around anytime soon. Go Black is there with the wraparound.
Whoa. Oh, God.
Okay.
They didn't see the creep, I don't think.
Can we get
Radiant Vision?
No, they see the Centaur. They see the Centaur coming in.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah. Right.
Damn.
Okay. Earthshaker He's not got the Fisher back off cooldown, has he? Yeah, well, let's look at the ES. What are they going to have to throw?
5 seconds.
5 seconds for the Earthshaker Fisher. Let's see what GoBlack can do with this rotation. Shadow Fiend does have the mech, will pop it straight away, so it's going to be a fairly tanky team to go up against. Throws one raise down. We'll get stood up by the Centaurs. GoBlack is going to get his damage stolen here with the Static Link, and well, with the punches, pops that Hand of God. It's not going to be enough to keep him alive. He will go down. Harney's come back into this. Echo Slam holding in place. They do find the call as well. This is fantastic play there from the side of the Radiant. That's going to be the Queen of Pain going down as well to the dunk. 2 heroes, 3 heroes falling is in fact bottom lane. The Wind Ranger goes down as well to PSM. So all in all, very nice there for the side of Yellow Submarine.
So Slasher and I both were thinking that it would be a 2-0 in favor of 4 Clover. And they win the first game. And then Slasher and I also both said that 4 Clover should win the next 2 games. But Yellow Submarine just refused to let either of us be right and are just proving that
It's looking very good.
The last game was not a fluke.
It certainly seems to be feeling that way so far, 12 minutes in. Yellow Submarine certainly playing, well, at the least at the same level as 4 Clovers, and evidently at the moment just a little bit of kind of outplaying them in certain situations. I mean, that looked to be, I mean, maybe an optimistic kind of gank there and shut down from GoBlack. Maybe didn't anticipate for the fact that the mech was available, but I don't know. All in all, wasn't even able to tickle the side of the Radiant, and 9-6 at the moment for the side of Yellow Submarine. Looking very strong against Harney's team, and now 12 minutes in with a lead coming up to about 5,000 in terms of net worth and about 3,000 in terms of XP.
I'm really surprised that they've managed to take this substantial of a lead in an early game that probably should have been favoring 4 Clover, at least with how active they wanted to be on the map. But
I should blink on Act now.
Yeah, the biggest issue now is the blinks. Like, the Earthshaker is only at 100 or so gold because he bought his Tranquils, but he had around 800 before he decided to buy that item. Barash is still farming great, highest on the net worth by 2.3 thousand. He can work his way towards his SNY, he can go for BKB. Doesn't really matter what his choice is. I mean, last game he played great. So I think between the Shadow Fiend being so consistent and now a Blink Dagger being available on their Initiator, like, they're going to get caught off guard by at least 1 Blink. Because I don't think Dale has actually shown himself in Vision yet. Or no, wait, he walked by the bottom ward. But did they see that he had Blink? That's the biggest question. Or no, did he TP? I think he TP'd.
I think he TP'd, didn't he?
Yeah, he did TP. Yeah, but now he walks by the ward. So if they ping it out, yeah, there it is. GoBlack saw it. Okay.
There's your Blink Dagger.
So now they know.
I mean, so Lifesteal, he has managed to pick up a Midas now at this point of the game. But I mean, in terms of the lineup that Yellow Submarine have they got the capability to kind of shut down his farm?
Oh yeah, they can take all the other 2 towers. Not a problem. I mean, you got a Mech Shadow Fiend. You got Razor as well, who I think Miposhka is also opting for a Mech. Shaker almost being brought to the high ground there, but not quite.
We're going for
Roshan. They need to
here.
fight this for sure.
BZZ and GoBlack on the high ground at the moment. There is backup from the Quap, standing by the secret shop. Also Wind Ranger coming down for this one as well. They've got the full lineup. It's at half health at the moment. PSM tanking it up with the Untouchable. Double damage to Embarash, doing a lot of work. Nice fish onto 3. Oh, that's a big... Oh, the Blink call into the Echo Slam. 2 heroes deleted, make that 3. Mech is popped. The Sonic Wave isn't going to do an awful lot after the mech comes out. And what an initiation. That, even though they knew he had the Blink, that is the way you enter the game with a Blink Dagger on the
Oh man, they had no vision. Like, the Sentry was dropped in the river, right? So the Shadow Fiend also had an Invis rune. So he used Invis inside of the pit, walked out knowing the Sentry was down and that there was no way that they would have been able to counter-initiate. And Dale just gets the biggest Blink call of his life. And the fight is just over at that point. There's no way they can come back from a 3-man initiation like that, especially when the Chen is one of the heroes who gets caught. Because instead of being able to hand a god and maybe keep the heroes alive long enough to be able to have some kind of counterplay, he doesn't get his spell off and he just flops over.
I mean,
that was a disaster.
Now they've got this fight, it kind of feels that, I mean, if they try and defend a tower, Dale's just going to Blink call them. And then the follow-up's going to be there. It's just going to be so hard for 4 Clovers to stop these tier 2s going down.
I don't think they can fight for now. They're going to have to wait for an opportunity to defend like high ground, or at the very least wait until Barash's Aegis disappears. Fighting into them right now, oh god, Bambo.
Yeah, Blink call, Fisher to follow up, looks for a dunk, but he's already dead, the Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
And they find the tier 2.
Yeah.
15.5 minutes in, and they don't want to go for more tier 2s, they want to maybe try and push for the high ground here. And
this is a really good chance.
They can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, they have the mech up on the Shadow Fiend still. He hasn't had to use it. I mean, they don't kill the base very fast, but that doesn't matter if the enemy team cannot fight you. Like, what is a Lifestealer going to do with only Midas Treads?
And let's go Black. I mean, they could just... Oh, the cool Blink call's actually messed up there. He calls no one.
Yeah, it's okay, though. They're still going to get the tier 3.
It was a zoning call. Yol gets throws the Fade Bolt out, but
Dude, they're gonna lose Rax.
16 minutes in, Draskell. I mean, it's all. It's going to be a pause.
Strategy pause.
Strategy pause. Right, boys.
So,
we screwed up. What do we do now? I mean, what do they do now?
They
Draskell?
screwed up big time.
Yeah.
The fact that Bambo was the one who died bottom kind of hurts because he's one of the only heroes on their team who has real deep push, and he doesn't have to put himself in a bad position to do it. So Power Shot has ridiculous range. And Fade Bolt's pretty far, but you could potentially still get called if you do that. So with Bambo dead, there's no way for 4Clover to kill the creep wave anymore, which is probably why they decided to go high ground, just in the fact that they don't have the deep push that they need anymore. And the Queen has to do the same thing. She has to put herself so close to kill the creeps that an Axe Call can just jump her, and then she dies too. So yeah, I think 4Clover in some serious trouble right now, and honestly, they're going to get the range racks like 100%. I don't know if they'll get melee, because Bambo's going to be alive for the defense, but hopefully Hani's PC issues or whatever is afflicting him is resolved soon.
I mean, what's the graph looking like? It must be.
It's like 7,500 towards 10,000 gold in favor of Yellow
16
Submarine.
minutes in.
16 minutes in, and the experience is pretty close to 7,500 as well.
I mean, comeback potential for 4Clovers. Is it there in their draft or?
It's kind of hard with a Chen. Like playing a Chen from behind is probably the worst case scenario, I think. Like the hero is built around being able to control the game. So when you're not controlling the game, your hero is like dead weight, more or less. It's kind of how I feel about the Razor in the last game. And it's not to say that he's played badly. It's just that when you have one catastrophe of a team fight around the Roshan pit, like Godblack walked his creeps into the pit. 2 of them died. He stole one of the Enchantress creeps from the Enchantress, right? So he still had 2 left.
Yeah.
And then everything just gets called in the little choke point because Dale had very good positioning. And they had no vision. So they fought into a suboptimal situation in the beginning anyway. And even if that call hadn't hit 3, the Shadow Fiend still had invis and they still didn't have a way of seeing him. So I think even if that call hadn't landed in that particular way, a Requiem could have easily done the same amount of damage. So here we go.
Here we go. The
push
game's on
continues.
pause. Let's see how they can hold on to this push. They're onto the racks now. Can 4Clovers do anything to stop this aggression? Sexy Bambo coming in.
What? Hello?
Bambo?
He was not here.
Bambo.
There's no way he's here.
Come on, sir. That was well, okay, he's dead. Dale goes in. Fish has been thrown out. Miposhka looking for a static link. There's your return Fisher from Yol. Harney blinks in. Hand of God comes out. Miposhka getting low. We'll get telekinesis up now. And there's your blink call from Dale. Catches out Harney with the impetus damage as well. And the dunk. That's your Queen of Pain dead. BZT turns up to the fight, but he's got nothing to show for it here. 1 punch, 2 punch. He's dead.
Is this just GG?
What is boo-boo?
Is this just GG?
I mean, Draskell.
Yep, there it is. GG.
I mean, you did say at the end of the first game, if you were 4Clovers, you'd be tilting after that.
I would be tilting if that happened to me, and now I would be even more tilted because I just lost a 16-minute game.
Well, I guess for us that was nice after the 80-minute one we just did.
Hey man, I'm sure the people in production are thrilled that we don't have to have 2 90-minute games back-to-back for scheduling purposes. It's fantastic. I mean, for anybody who's a fan of Godblack or 4Clover in general, it's got to be a bit of a kick in the pants, but...
we were saying that the second series is going to be delayed. We were laughing at the time that it was scheduled for, but we were actually in a position where it was right. Because there was
let's check the time. Okay, it's 8:47 right now. The next series starts
schedule.
at 9. All right, thank you, Yellow Submarine, for putting us back on course.
Well, we didn't have a lot of faith in them at the start, but...
Nobody did.
No one did.
But it's nice to have those types of games.
It really...
Nobody who matters, Shane. I forgot to classify.
You're not an analyst.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Ow.
Jesus Christ.
He actually hit me.
Come on, you'll be able to claim for that.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's all right. Anyway, so that is a 2-0 victory there for the side of Yellow Submarine. And we're going to be going over some commercials and then our analyst desk. And we'll be back for the second series, myself and Draskell, very shortly, which should be exciting. And we'll be able to move on to that nice and swiftly after a very quick defeat there. And 4Clovers are knocked out, of course. Yellow Submarine will move on to the semi-finals. So congratulations to them. We'll see you guys in a bit.
Hey, birds! I'm Edward, and I'm a tufted titmouse. I'm a pretty standard bird, decent flyer, okay at nests. But my forte, a little thing called productivity. Look, I get it. We all have to work, tick things off the list. Emails, notes, presentations, expenses. But come on, man. I mean, you have to make time for the finer things in life. You're all stressing out about what you have to do next because you can't do it now. Progress isn't made by early birds, you know? It's made by modern birds like me. As for the rest of you, you're just making things difficult for yourselves. Always hunting for a recharge. Glued to your tiny screens, giving yourself a migraine while you try to write a novel with your thumbs? You birds are so old school. As for me, I got time on my side. A tablet when I want it, and a laptop when I need it. Now stop your flapping and get it done.
Get everything done on the fly. It's a laptop, it's a tablet. The ASUS Transformer Book T100 with Intel inside.
I've got a laptop. Check out my laptop.
It's also a tablet.
I love my laptop.
The point is it's both.
You see this?
Yes, it's both.
Nice.
Welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague live from the Monster Energy DreamHack studios. And we had our first game, which was 90 minutes, and then our second game just ended, which was 16 minutes. Quite the contrast there. Both, by the way, were taken by Yellow Submarine. So hereby, I want to take credit for making Shane go for the 2-0.
What? You're giving yourself credit for my decision.
Yeah, because I kind of, like, I made you leave the bandwagon.
I left it on my own.
Okay. Slightly pressured. No,
This is probably the first time I've ever made a right prediction.
But seriously, nobody was like, you were predicting that, but in your mind, like, in the back of your mind, was it realistic?
I didn't expect it.
Exactly. So, 4 Clovers and a Leprecon, they're out, and for everybody on the couch, even you, they were the team which was going to make it to the finals. Didn't happen.
I think the second game.
Why didn't it happen? Was it on tilt? What were they on tilt?
It seemed like it. Like there was just so much. We were talking about the Life Stealer, the Windrunner. Like there's just so much like lacking in the draft. Goblak did some really nice rotations on Chen, but there was just so many points where it was just like, I don't know. They pushed so high when Bambo. Bambo's a player. You know, he's a gamer. He needs the game and heroes. And I don't think Windrunner was the right one for him, to be honest.
No. I think we can talk a lot about the heroes and the matchup, but I would say the most important factor would be the tilt, and would be probably maybe a very bad communication after the first game on 4 Clovers, and just maybe they didn't want, they were just so down that they just couldn't like pull themselves up.
In the last fight as well, we actually saw they paused, and someone unpaused, even though Sexy Bambo was still AFK.
Yeah.
Now that's, if I've ever heard of miscommunication, like that's pretty much the definition. It wasn't them who unpaused. Okay.
But also, I don't know. I'm not sure why they picked Nyx. I'm not sure who tweeted. I think there was like, maybe it was Atisi or maybe it was someone else. But he tweeted like, why would the Chinese pick Lifestealer, because they had picked him sometimes, and Lifestealer right now, he will get some buffs in 6.84, but but right now he's just like, maybe if they had only magical damage, then you can consider picking Lifestealer. But against this lineup, he's pretty good against Earthshaker. But then the rest of the heroes just.
Well, despite it being a 16-minute game, we were still able to have to find you a clip, so that Shane can do his Shane-alytics on the drawing board.
Right, so we're 14 minutes into this game, and Yellow Submarine are about to take Roshan. And we're going to look at Dale and Fervian. And this is like the dream, basically. All right, so a few seconds ago, can we rewind a little bit, Scriff? And we can just, no. Okay, yeah. So basically, they start taking Roshan. Fervian runs up. They have pretty decent vision, so it's not too bad. So let's play and see what happens. All right. So, Slasher, why would they pause here for a second? All right, so you're the Dire. You're 4 Clovers and Leprecon. How do you take the dream fight here? What do you do?
How do 4 Clovers take the dream fight?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how much vision. Can we see how much vision they have with the Roche pit?
Because no, this is all you can get.
So if they don't know how low Roshan is,
they have a. Wait a second. They have a ward right there up the hill, and Roshan is right now out of his base.
Okay,
yeah,
so they know where Roshan is. So that's really good. Then that means Roshan has a lot of HP, so that they don't really need to force anything. I would say probably run in first with the creeps and then next, and then be careful that you don't get like clumped up here.
Yeah, so that's exactly what they do. They send in the, let's play and have a look. They send in the Chen creeps to scout, and then because Barash on his Shadow Fiend actually has a DD, he just like annihilates them, basically. Yeah. And then if we pause here, we can see that all of a sudden 4 Clovers start to kind of group up. And let's keep playing. Play, please, Chris. Yeah. So what they do is, I think they panic, and they're like, okay, we have to go now.
Yeah, they check even with the power shot still. But still too early.
Power shot, and look at that pause. Oh my God, what a pause, Griff. So Fervian gets a 3-man Fisher, and then Dale, who's like over here on Axe, just it's a dream. Let's approach this.
There he comes.
He blinks in, calls everyone nearly, and then this is the perfect Deco Slam with the Chen creeps, and it's sad times.
I mean, they clumped up by the way they shouldn't have. Fisher caught them all out.
Oh man.
And at this point, I mean, if they weren't tilting before this, they're tilting right now.
Definitely.
So that is definitely not great for Clovers and Leprecon, but all the more greater for Yellow Submarines, who will then move on to our semi-finals. And Dale, who was playing the Axe, maybe man of the match, at least definitely a good showing. We actually have him online for a interview. Let's go do that. Hello, Dale.
Hello.
Congratulations on winning the quarterfinal match, making it to the semi-finals.
Thank you very much.
You're in your first game, which was quite long, 90-ish minutes. You had like the game was very back and forth. It was very hectic from a spectator point of view. And since you're a fairly new team, I'm wondering. Normally, people say new teams are slightly inexperienced when it comes to these long games. But how does your team communication goes in a game like that?
Well, we are playing a lot of such games. I don't know, we are playing nowadays a lot of tournaments, so we are trying our best and practicing a lot to get more practice in the games like this. So.
And who's the one that makes the calls then in a long game like that?
We got a captain that makes right calls. I think it's PSM. So.
Can you give me a bit of history about your team? Like, how did you guys meet each other? Like, when did you form as a team?
We are playing together from December, I think. There were 3 guys who was playing for about half of a year, and then they invited me and PSM to join them, and we start practicing. First time we didn't play really well. But then we started a lot of practicing, a lot of matches. We are playing like every day, and so we are making results now.
Cool, thank you.
I have a question for your first draft. I am curious to know, why did you pick Darkseer already as the second pick when you know that it's very likely that they won't pick or ban the hero?
We are playing Darkseer a lot, so it's kind of we pick it for hard lane or jungler. So when we see a greedy lineup on the enemy side, and there was a lot of potential with nukes. When we see 2 intelligence heroes, we're thinking about nukes, so nukes can go Vendetta with Iron Shield and Gangelot, but our start of the match wasn't too good for us, so we were playing from behind, but we come back, and we were good this game.
Did you know that your axe play that you did, I think, 2 weeks ago, when you got a rampage at 10 minutes 15, is the second fastest rampage in history on that Dota?
Oh, I didn't know this.
Well, hereby you know. I think number 1 is a resolution on a sniper. So, nice axe play that game. Definitely memorable for us.
Thank you very much.
Now, your semi-finals, you're going to go up against either Vega or Game Online, and we're going to see that match later today. Is there anybody of those teams that you prefer to face?
We were practicing in scrims with Vega, and I don't know. We were like 1-1 against them, so we won 1 game and lost 1 game. So. And Game Online, no, I don't think so, that we practice with them. But I think it wouldn't be an easy match, so we need to practice more against them. It will be nice practice for us.
Okay, there's a chance that on Thursday, when the semifinals are held, that the patch is going to hit. So I'm curious to hear from you. What's your favorite patch change upcoming?
Well. Favorite. There is a lot of changes.
Yeah, there are.
I really like Centaur Agonyms. I think it's Simba because 70% resistance, and you can run somewhere from high ground. For example, you buying something in the side shop and someone just, not someone, whole team just running from the river. It's a lot of gank potential in its initiation, something like that.
Well, I hope we might be able to see that coming Thursday then, but we'll have to see. For now, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Do you have any shout-outs or plugins you want to do while we have you here?
Shout-outs? I don't know. Maybe thanks for our fans who watching our games and like to see our plays. And thanks for this interview.
Well, thank you too, and have a great evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And that, of course, was Dale from Yellow Submarines, and they made it to the semifinals. That's going to be held on Thursday, as mentioned, but we don't know yet who's going to be going up against them, because that's the series that we're going to watch next. It's Vega Squadron with newly added Mag and Solo. Were added yesterday, and they're going to take on Game Online, a team that we saw last week with Excalibur. And I just, first of all, I just want to hear your thoughts or predictions. What do you think? How is this match going to go?
You can go first.
I was about to say you can go first. I think at least Excalibur, he's gonna really like the new patch because Tinker gets buffed, and Tinker is just his favorite hero. I think he actually still picks Tinker, even though I think he may be one of the only teams that consistently pick Tinker, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Game Online?
No, I mean with Excalibur. But
yeah, I think honestly they're Wisp Tiny last week.
Yeah, with the Morphling.
Yeah, they played super good. So they pick Morphling. Morphling goes solo offlane or solo safe lane. He just gets like level 9. He goes up to someone, stuns them, and then they relocate on top and just kill. And they were miles behind in the game, like so far behind. But this strategy got them back. So, and I wonder if Vegas Squadron have seen this, because it could actually really impact the game.
Yeah, their whole laning stage fell apart, but that strategy made them come back. And before we jump into the draft, because the draft is starting. It's already starting. But I do have to mention facebook.com/ROG Nordic, where you can go to mention your favorite, most MVP hero of this qualifier. And it has to be specific to this qualifier. So make sure you check that out. You can win either a headset, a keyboard, a mousepad, or a mouse. I was not cheating. I was just looking at the pretty boxes around me. But with that being said, we can go into the draft, because it is time for the first game of our second quarterfinals. Vega Squadron taking on Game Online.